Assalamu alaikum, everyone. We are now ready for recitation of Quran. Please come forward and sit on here, please. Yeah. Makbul Bhai is going to recite recitation of the Quran.
Start.
Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat.
Allah. Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والشمس وضحاها والقمر إذا تلاها والنهار إذا جلاها والليل إذا يغشاها والسماء وما بناها والأرض وما طحاها ونفس وما سواها فألهمها فجورها وتقواها قد أفلح من زكاها وقد خاب من دساها كذبت ثمود بتغواها إذا انبعث أشقاها فقال لهم رسول الله ناقة الله وسقياها فكذبوه فقروها فدمدم عليهم ربهم بذنبهم فسواها ولا يخاف عقباها صدق الله العلي العظيم. In the name of Allah, the most merciful. By the sun and her forenoon splendor, by the moon when it follows her, by the day when it reveals her, by the night when it covers her, by the sky and him who built it, by the earth and him who spread it, by the soul and him who fashioned it, and inspired it with discernment between its virtues and vices. One who purifies it is felicitous, and one who betrays it fails. The people of Samud denied Allah's signs out of their rebellion. When the most wretched of them rose up, the apostle of Allah had told them, "This is Allah's she-camel, let her drink." But they impugned him and hamstrung her, so their Lord took them unawares by night because of their sin and leveled it, and he does not fear its outcome. Sadaqallahu al-Aliyyul Azim.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Can you hear me? At least our wireless one is working. Whoever wants to speak, Abbas will give you the microphone so that you can participate in our discussion today with Dr. Sibtain. So, can I request him to, with Nare Salawat, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم ભાઈ અસ્સલામુ અલૈકુમ વરહમતુલ્લાહિ વબરકાતુ. આજે મને લેક્ચર નથી આપવાનું, હું ખાલી ઇન્ટ્રોડ્યુસ કરીશ આ સબ્જેક્ટ મેટર, અને પછી મને ખબર છે કે જેટલું વધારે તમારા પોતાના વ્યૂઝ હોય આ બાબત ઉપર, આ સબ્જેક્ટ મેટર ઉપર, એ મને જાણવું છે, કારણ કે ઇટ વુડ બી વેરી હેલ્પફુલ ટુ મી એઝ આઈ એમ રાઇટિંગ ધ પાર્ટ 2 ઓફ ધીસ બુક. તમને બધાને ખબર હશે કે આ જે પાર્ટ 1 કિતાબ જે છે એ 1860 આપણી કોમની હિસ્ટ્રી છે, પર્ટિક્યુલરલી ઇસ્ટ આફ્રિકા, ખોજાશિયા, ઇશ્નાશ્રીઝની, અને એનો જે આર્ક મેં લીધો છે એ 1860 મીન્સ 1860 ટુ 1960. પાર્ટ 2 જે કિતાબ છે એ 1960 ટુ 2020, એટલે કે 2022, આ જે વર્ષ છે ચાલી રહ્યો છે ત્યાં સુધી એનો દોર આપણે લખવા માગીએ છીએ. હવે વાત એમ છે કે આ જે કિતાબ જે છે એમાં આપણા પૂર્વજો જે ઇન્ડિયાથી આવ્યા હતા ઈસ્ટ આફ્રિકા, તો એ લોકો જ્યારે આવવાનો વિચાર કરતા હતા ઈસ્ટ આફ્રિકામાં, તો એ લોકોના મગજમાં ઇકોનોમિક પ્રોસ્પેરિટી માટે હતું કે એ લોકોને પોતાની જે ઇકોનોમિક કન્ડિશન હતી તે સારી કરવી હતી. પણ આ હિસ્ટ્રીમાં આપણે જોશું કે જ્યારે એ લોકો ઈસ્ટ આફ્રિકા પહોંચ્યા અને ઇકોનોમિક સ્ટેબિલિટી તો એ લોકોને આવતી ગઈ, કારણ કે એ લોકોને સરખા કન્ડિશન્સ મળ્યા હતા ત્યાં ટુ બ્રિંગ themselves up, પણ ટુ સસ્ટેઇન themselves, એ લોકોના પોતાના જિંદગી માટે પર્પઝ શું છે, મકસદ શું છે, એ લોકોને સસ્ટેઇન કર્યું. અને ફોર ધેટ ફેઇથ બીકેમ વેરી ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ. અને આપણે જોશું કે ફેઇથ બીકેમ ધ કોર ઓબ્જેક્ટિવ ફોર ધેમ. અને એના ઉપર એ લોકો સંસ્થાઓ બાંધ્યા, જમાત બાંધી, પછી રિજનલ ફેડરેશન કર્યા. આ બધું કિતાબમાં છે. આફ્રિકા ફેડરેશન સુધી આપણે અહીંયા પહોંચ્યા હતા. પછી પોલિટિકલ સિચ્યુએશન બધી ખરાબ થતી ગઈ, એટલે ખરાબ એટલે કે ઇન ધ સેન્સ કે ચેન્જ થતી ગઈ, ખરાબ નહોતી થઈ પણ ચેન્જ થતી ગઈ, અને એમાં અનસર્ટન્ટી શરૂ થઈ આપણી કોમમાં આવવાનું. અને આપણી કોમ વિચાર કરતી હતી કે હવે ક્યાં રહીએ આપણે. તો મને યાદ છે કે હું જ્યારે ઈસ્ટ આફ્રિકામાં હતો ત્યારે માણસો એમ ધારતા હતા કે ટાંગાનિકામાં કે યુગાન્ડામાં કે કિનિયામાં, કે જ્યાં ઇન્ડિપેન્ડન્ટ મૂવમેન્ટ શરૂ થઈ ગયું હતું, કાંઈ પણ અમને થશે ને તો અમે જંગ બહાર જાશું. બરાબર છે, આપણને એમ હતું કે અમે જંગ બહાર જાશું. પણ 1964માં જંગબારમાં રેવોલ્યુશન આવી ગયું. હવે શું થાય? કારણ કે લગભગ 2,000 થી 4,000 કોમ્યુનિટી જે આપણી હતી ત્યાં, એ બધી દાર ઇસ્લામમાં લગભગ આવી ગઈ. અને પછી કોમના હોદ્દેદારો, લીડરોને વિચાર કરવું પડ્યું કે હવે કોમ ક્યાં જાય જો આવું અનસર્ટેનિટી હોય. એના પછી એ અનસર્ટેનિટીમાં જ રહેતા હતા. અમુક માઇગ્રેટ કર્યા, અમુક અહીંયા આવ્યા, અમુક બીજે બાજુ ગયા. પછી 1972માં આપણો ઈદી અમીને એક્સપલ્શન કર્યું એશિયન કોમ્યુનિટીને, અને લગભગ આપણા યુગાન્ડન, ખોજાશિયા, ઇશ્નાશ્રીઝ અહીંયા આવ્યા. પછી એના પછી સોમાલિયાનું થયું, પછી પોલિટિકલ સિચ્યુએશન પાછું અનસર્ટન વધારે થતું ગયું. તો એમ કરતાં કરતાં આપણે એક ગ્લોબલ કોમ્યુનિટી બની, પછી ગ્લોબલ સંસ્થાઓ આપણે કરી. અને પછી આપણા ચેલેન્જીસ જે હતા એ બધા જુદા જુદા થવા માંડ્યા, કારણ કે એઝ અ ગ્લોબલ કોમ્યુનિટી આપણે બાઉન્ડ્રીઝ બધી ક્રોસ કરવા માંડી. આપણે એક જમાનામાં ઈસ્ટ આફ્રિકામાં આપણે એમ જ વિચાર કરતા હતા કે આ ઈસ્ટ આફ્રિકા આપણી દુનિયા છે, અને એ દુનિયાથી આપણે જ્યારે બહાર નીકળ્યા ત્યારે આપણને ખબર પડી કે આ કેટલી મોટી દુનિયા છે, એમાં કેટલી જાતના એથિક્સ છે, કેટલી જાતના રિલિજન છે, કેટલા કલ્ચર છે, એ બધાય આપણને ક્રોસ કરવા માંડ્યા, અને પછી આપણા ચેલેન્જીસ ઊભા થયા. તો આ જે દોર છે 1960થી 2022નો, એ દોર હું લખું છું, અને એમાં આપણે જ્યારે રિસર્ચ કરતા હોય ને તો આપણને ઘણી બધી હિસ્ટોરિકલ આઈડિયાઝ ને ફેક્ટ્સ ઘણી વખતે આપણને લખાણમાં મળે. એ આપણે સેકન્ડરી સોર્સ ઘણી વખતે હોય, પ્રાઇમરી સોર્સ હોય, પણ બધાથી ઉમદામાં ઉમદા સોર્સ આ છો તમે, કારણ કે તમે અમુક વસ્તુઓ વિટનેસ કર્યા હતા. કારણ કે આ લગભગ અહીંયા એ જ જોઉં છું તો તમે ઈસ્ટ આફ્રિકામાં રહ્યા તો એ દોરમાં, અને અહીંયા આવીને તમારી ઘણા વર્ષો તમે કાઢ્યા છો. તો તમારા જે એક્સપિરિયન્સીસ હશે એ મને બહુ કામના હશે. એટલે કે ઇટ બિકમ્સ અ પ્રાઇમરી સોર્સ. આપણે કહીએ ને કે લેજિટિમેટ સોર્સ ઇન ધ સેન્સ કે આપણને એ માણસો પાસેથી મળ્યું છે કે દે વિટનેસ ધ ઇવેન્ટ ધેમસેલ્વ્સ. તો એટલે આપણે હું શુક્રગુજાર છું સુલતાનભાઈનો અને એની કમિટીનો કે એ લોકોએ મને એક મોકો આપ્યો કે હું તમારી પાસેથી તમારા વ્યૂઝ લઈ શકું. ગઈકાલે તમને બધાને કદાચને મળ્યો હશે કે નહીં મળ્યો હોય, ગયું તું બધે બાજુ? હા, વોટ્સન 10 સવાલો હું કર્યો હતો. તો આ 10 સવાલો એમ નથી કે તમે 10 સવાલો ઉપર બોલો, પણ જેટલું તમે બોલી શકો, આ તમને ખાલી અંદાજો આપ્યો હતો કે હું કેવી રીતે આગળ વધું છું. તો તમારી પાસેથી મને વ્યૂઝ કપે છે, તમારા મગજમાં, તમારા એક્સપિરિયન્સમાં. જ્યારે તમે ઈસ્ટ આફ્રિકા રહેતા હતા, પછી એ ટાઈમ આવ્યો કે તમને ત્યાંથી નીકળવું પડ્યું, તમે અહીંયા આવ્યા, શા માટે આવ્યા, તમે શું જોયું, અને તમને કેવું લાગ્યું, હાઉ ડીડ યુ ફીલ અબાઉટ ધ કોમ્યુનિટી વિચ એક્ઝિસ્ટેડ એટ દેટ ટાઈમ, અને પછી હમણાં પ્રોસેસ આખું તમને કેવી રીતે અફેક્ટ કર્યું, તમારા પોતાના જે વિચારણાઓ હતા એ તમે પછી ચેન્જ કર્યા હશો, મને કાંઈ ખબર નથી, પણ જે તમે આપી શકો એ તમે પ્લીઝ મને આપો. હવે હું હવે બંધ કરીશ, કારણ કે મને ખપે છે કે તમારામાંથી મને આ બધા વ્યૂઝ શરૂ કરે આપવા માટે. તો સુલતાનભાઈ, આપણે હાઉ વુડ વી ડુ ઇટ? શેલ વી આસ્ક ધેમ ટુ ગીવ ધ વ્યૂઝ? કારણ કે હું વધારે નહીં બોલું, હું સાંભળીશ વધારે. એમાં અમુક સવાલો હશે તો હું તમને પૂછીશ, પણ જેટલું તમે બોલી શકો એટલું બોલો તમે. પણ આપણે ટાઈમનું લિમિટ રાખીએ છીએ એક માણસ ઉપર. સુલતાનભાઈ, ડુ વી want to keep it? We'll see how it is. All right, okay. Up to the chairman then. So, inshallah, Sultan Bhai, we can now begin to have views. તમે બધાને મેં સવાલો મોકલાવી દીધા હતા, અને મેં તમને થોડુંક પ્રિએમ્બલ આપ્યું. આઈ વોન્ટ યોર એક્સપિરિયન્સીસ એઝ યુ વેર ધેર, અને પછી શું થયું, કેવી રીતે આવ્યા અહીંયા તમારા પોતાના જે વિચારણાઓ હતા, કેવી રીતના થયા, બદલાણા શું, બધું તમે પ્લીઝ આપી શકો તો સારું. ના રેકોર્ડિંગ થાય છે બરાબર કે નહીં? રેકોર્ડિંગ થાય છે? ઓકે, ફાઇન, ઇન્શાલ્લાહ. ઓકે, હું બોલી જાઉં, હમણાં કહી દઉં. ઓકે, લેટ મી જસ્ટ વેરી ક્વિકલી ગો થ્રુ ધ ક્વેશ્ચન. હા, ઓલરાઇટ, ઓકે. મારી પાસે જરાક બધા રહે છે, મારા ચશ્મા હવે જુદા થઈ ગયા છે. તો 10 સવાલો આ હતા, તો એના ઉપર તમે જરાક વિચાર કરો 1-2 મિનિટ આફ્ટર આઈ હેવ રેડ ઇટ, અને પછી જે કાંઈ તમારા મગજમાં હોય તમે આપજો પ્લીઝ. નંબર 1, why did you migrate from East Africa to the West, specifically the UK, and your expectations, ambitions and fears when arriving in the UK? Who supported you when you arrived? Parents, our community already in UK, British institutions, or your neighbors? And how did the British people treat you when you arrived? Looking back, what were the cultural and religious challenges you faced upon arrival? And is there anything you would have done differently in terms of how you followed Islam? Do you feel you have the same Islamic identity now as you had in East Africa? Is the UK helping you preserve and enhance your Islamic identity? And what do you feel you have gained and lost by coming to the UK? do you see the next generation preserving their Khoja identity in the UK? Ultimately, what does being Khoja Shia Ithnashri in the UK mean to you? Would you go back to live in East Africa now? If so, why? If not, why not? What do you feel are the positives and negatives of the UK and its way of life, having lived in it for many years now? In terms of our Khoja community in the UK, what do you feel are its biggest accomplishments and challenges? And lastly, what would be your advice for the Khoja community or Khoja Shia Ithnashri community in the next 50 years? Now, આ ઘણા બધા સવાલો છે મને ખબર છે પણ તમને અંદાજો મળી ગયો હશે. You would have got some idea કે અમુક સવાલો ઉપર તમે તમારા વ્યૂઝ આપી શકો છો. બીજાઓ આપી શકશે બધા ઉપર પણ જેટલું તમારાથી થાય એટલું. અને આપણે લેંગ્વેજ રાખશું. મને ખબર છે સુલતાનભાઈ તમે સૂઈ જાશો ને તો એટલે મને વાંધો નથી. ગુજરાતી, ઇંગ્લિશ, સ્વાહિલી તમને બોલવું હોય તો મને સ્વાહિલી એટલું બધું પણ આઈ કેન અન્ડરસ્ટેન્ડ ઇટ. અને કચ્છી પણ તમે પ્લીઝ અરબિક ને ફારસીને હાંકતા નહીં કારણ કે અમને કોઈને આવડતું નથી. પણ જો તમને આવડતું હોય તો તમે ટ્રાન્સલેટ કરીને પછી આપજો મને એમ. ઓકે
We've got a gentleman from Canada, Toronto.
જી.
Maybe he would like also to give some of his views
Yes,
about Toronto, yeah?
યા દેટ વુડ બી વન્ડરફુલ. તમે આપજો જે કે તમારી પાસે હોય. બિસ્મિલ્લા તમે આ માઇકમાં બોલો તો શું રેકોર્ડ થાય. તમારું નામ આપજો ને પ્લીઝ.
Anwar Dala.
ફ્રોમ ટોરોન્ટો.
Yeah, Toronto. Yeah. Well, if I look back, I mean, in 1944 I was born in Newala, the southern part of Tanzania. The reason actually why we migrated, I'm speaking about my family, is that education. My dad, you know, he was very particular about education. So we actually migrated from Newala to, we were sent to actually Lindi, from Lindi to Dar es Salaam for our education. And when I completed my university and started working, I started actually thinking about the education of my children. And this is the reason when I actually migrated to actually Dubai first. And I made some money there. And after that, I decided to migrate to Canada.
Okay.
So for me and my family, education was the primary reason. Yeah. As far as the assimilation,
ક્યારે વર્ષ તમે when did you migrate?
1982 માં હું દુબઈ ગયો. 95 માં હું
Canada.
Toronto.
Toronto, okay.
So as far as assimilation is concerned in the community, initially it was a bit difficult. But fortunately, the infrastructure, the religious infrastructure we had in Toronto, the actual Jamaat and the mosque and the madrasa and everything was actually good. And my kids were in Dubai for 14 years. So we had an opportunity for them to learn about religion, to be very active in religion. Actually, my daughter actually taught in madrasa. So, you know, it started really well for me. And when my kids were in Toronto University over there, they were very much aware of a responsibility of a Muslim in university. So I had no difficulties whatsoever. But, you know, as far as the assimilation is concerned, you know, we have to think that we should be able to coexist. But at the same time, we should try to, and we did, try to educate the Canadians there whom we met about our religion. Because the impression these people have is that Islamophobia, you know about it, I really don't have to go. But when you talk to them and explain to them the real Islam, then they understand it. And they do research, you'll be surprised. They go and read Majul Balaga and come and discuss it with me sometimes. You see? So this is what we should be actually doing, which we don't. Unfortunately, most of our elders and
તમે જરાક માઇક
sorry.
કારણ
most
કે
most of our elders, they are not aware of the religion themselves. They really don't know much about Islam. So how can they educate others? So important thing is education of the elders. But education should be such that they should be able to understand Islam in a simple way, so they can articulate and actually educate others. So for me, the journey has been good. And I think my son also, he inculcates the same idea and the same education into his children.
Okay.
And his children are also trying to assimilate and educate, because they now know Islam, because they went through the madrasa there. And madrasas in actually Toronto are really good.
રાઈટ ઓકે
Thank you very much. I'll try to give a chance to everybody to speak. So if you can, just about 5 minutes or 7 minutes, and then when there's time, I can come back to you, yeah? So if you don't mind.
એક મિનિટ મુસ્તફાભાઈ જરાક સુલતાનભાઈ એક જરાક એનાઉન્સ કરી નાખું હા અમુક ભાઈઓ સોમાલિયાથી પણ આવ્યા છે તો પ્લીઝ તમારા એ તમે આપજો સોમાલિયાના પણ રિફ્લેક્શન્સ તમે આપજો પ્લીઝ યા
Assalamu alaikum. When I moved here first in 73, I moved for education. My brothers and sisters needed to be educated, so I had to bring them here. Because I had witnessed people getting lost when they come here. We have heard about, I don't want to mention it, shall I mention his name? He's dead now.
Best
Professor,
not to, yeah.
Professor Ibrahim. He was a great member of our community, and he had got lost. He was the president of our community at one time. G.J. Ibrahim was fantastic. He was my teacher at Muimbili Hospital when I was studying under him. And we were very close. And when he came, he got lost completely. So I thought I have to accompany my children so they shouldn't get lost, my brothers and sisters. And this was my first impression. And then when I stayed here, I saw there was no hijab being observed. And I found that absolutely intolerant, because I had a daughter of 1 year old. And I said, I can't bring them into a society like that. So I moved back to Mombasa. And then Mullah Asghar came here, and he wrote me a letter. He said, this Islam has been established here properly, and he started his own house, and I should come over. And that's why I moved over. But many people have been lost here, lost their bearings completely, either getting married to Westerners and getting, or other communities and getting lost. And I think that was a big worry. Hijab and religion, and now religion has been established. We came for education. Even when I came later on in 76 for my daughter now, to educate her, because she had finished her A-levels and she was brilliant. So I said, I can't let her stay in Kenya, but there's no further education. Education did go on there. So I said, this is the best place. And so we come here and she has become a doctor now. So this is what is benefited. But still, we have problems in this community because we have influence from the Westerners, their morals in schools, Thank goodness because Hujjat Academy is starting now. Hujjat School is starting here. Otherwise, we would have been lost. So we should thank God for our institutions that we have got. Even these institutions that we have here help us to stay on the track.
Do you feel the community is helping a lot?
It helps a lot. The community has helped a lot. It's very helpful.
And how do you see the difference between the East Africa way of living and here?
Here it is very, very fast. It is very, very fast. We hardly had any time to think. We have to move all the time. It's like a rat race here. But there it was simple and slow and everything proper. It was private practice here. Here is NHS. So things are different. We can't give injections here like we do.
Yeah. Do you have a view on Khoja Shri identity in any way?
I think we have to be very careful because we could lose our identity because of the influence of the Westerners on our community. Mm-hmm. If children go to other schools and they get influenced by them, we can give morals are lost. In internet, we have got pornography there. Now we have to really watch our children and that they don't get lost into this. That what we have achieved will be lost.
Thanks.
I think that's it.
Yeah, thank you.
I said, thank
આપો યા બધાય થોડું થોડું કોન્ટ્રીબ્યુશન આપો તમે આપો પર્ટિક્યુલરલી યુગાન્ડાથી જે 1972માં અહીંયા આવ્યા પહેલું અને એ લોકોના જે એક્સપિરિયન્સીસ યુગાન્ડા અને પછી અહીંયા આવવાનું એ પણ મને જાણવું છે જો કોઈના એક્સપિરિયન્સીસ હોય યુગાન્ડાના પર્ટિક્યુલરલી ચાલો
Assalamu alaikum.
વાલેકુમ સલામ
I want to ask you the question. Are you covering up the people who have already migrated here or those who have not, those who were there before migration, that period? Now,
No, I am covering both the period from 1960 onwards within East Africa as well as outside East Africa as we became a global community. However, what I'm wanting to know is your experience as you lived in East Africa, why you migrated here, and what your experiences here in the West was.
I will rather personalize a little bit. And
That should be fine.
That will be then. You see, I came to this country in 1964
Right.
For education.
Yeah, keep your mic a little bit more. Yeah, that's it.
I did my A-levels here as well as university degree and whatnot. And I worked here, etc., etc. As far as the people who are there, I will first go into one aspect of your book, which I personally told you, and I want to tell you in public, is that people are, not all of us, we are cynical in the sense that in your first book, you have not covered the places where we have dwelled. For example, I am from Lindi. This gentleman is from also south. So I don't want to be very much that you should cover about Lindi, but as such, you should cover all the places if you can in the book, forthcoming book. As far as our experiences is concerned, going out of my personal, that we had a difficulty to practice religion as we were there. And in Plymouth, I faced the first problem, and which everybody faced, was the praying and attending to certain, majlises. And we are hardly about under 5 or 10 people. And we approached the principal of the college, and he gave us the place to pray, a big hall where you could pray in Zohar namaz only, Zohar Asar. And then we approached him for practicing, majlises, Ashura, the important ones. And I don't remember very well, but he facilitated in a way for us to hold such place, a place in the college where you could do that during afternoon, because in the night it's closed. So this is a small part of the difficulty of practicing a religion. Then I decided to work here, and my circumstances were that I had to leave this country to go to Tanzania. And Tanzania, I found that it has, over my absence, it changed for worse. Yet I was, because of my circumstances, I had to go there, and there was too much corruption, where people could make money, and I got lured into staying there rather opting to go to UK back. And I did this business there, and I entered into some sort of a computer industry, and I got very much addicted. But I thought this place is not for me. I came back to this country again, and when I applied for the job, I found my degree was obsolete, in the sense the computer industry had gone far ahead. So wherever I applied, they used to tell me that if you are a little bit computer literate, we may consider. So these are the phases I faced, and many people, I believe, must have faced of being more literate in computer. So I had to attend night classes in order to be in touch with what the technology has advanced since I left this UK. That was a time when Windows had just come, and I went to Open University, night classes, attended, and I got a job. It's a long story. Now, if you ask what difficulties we faced in the time when we came here, first of all, we used to go to East African House to read what was going on back home. So we had some couple of people who used to come and read the magazine. So our problem was to know about, there was no internet to know what's going on there. So we used to visit the East African House, where there were other East Africans visiting, including, I believe, the Zanzibar ex-Sultan used to come, but I didn't see him. But this is the problem. And then religiously, I found that we were lost, sort of, there was some institutions where one can go and pray. I'm talking about places like Plymouth. Then when I got to university at Manchester, there also the same problem. There were Sunni centers, but as far as we Shia were concerned, we didn't find one, like a masjid or something, So they had a difficulty of practicing Shia religion, not as far as other religions. So this is the difficulties I faced, rather, and I believe that other people too. And then I give you one example, one I'm very ashamed, but I'm talking in public what I felt. I was eating not halal food, which I didn't know that time, and I happened to be eating hot dog. I'm very ashamed of what I was doing, but I didn't know that this was not a halal meat. And one Iraqi student, he was our de facto or something, leader. He came to me and he said, "Mohsin, what are you doing? You're eating this hot dog." I said, "What is it?" He said, "This is, first of all, it's not halal, and second, there is pigs, meat in it." Ya Allah. I committed a big sin. But then he was a very, in fact, I heard that Saddam Hussein already hanged him, because he was a very, very nice person, whichever angle you look at him, religiously and morally and everything. So these are the difficulties we faced. But I did it all in ignorance. See, this was that I didn't know what I was doing. So these are the problems we faced. And then when I got a job, and then one incident. Shall I continue? All right. I don't say. I told that there are my personal experiences and the general. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Now, a lot of information came from there. That's very nice. Thank you very much. Yeah. Okay.
Just want to add, I was in UK at the same time as Mohsin. And I was in Plymouth as well, slightly earlier than Mohsin. I think the person he's talking about is Hassan Raja, and he would go to every Muslim and literally say, what you are doing is not right. And if he heard a Muslim going to a party, he would say, I'm going to a film today, would you come with me to embarrass you not to go to the party? Okay. So I just want to relate, his name. But I was from Plymouth I came to London, and I was quite active in National Union. And we used to have majlises here, and the majlises people's residences. So Ashura majlis would be held in Barnet. Chelu majlises would be held in Firdaus and Dharamsi's house. Ramzan majlises would be held in Mohsin Dharamsi's house, and also in Finsbury Park. I can't remember the name of the gentleman, but he would also hold Ramzan majlises. I think I'll try and find out his name. But so this is how we kept and also majlises were held in East Africa House. So this is how we kept following the religion.
So Zulfikar Bhai, how did from Ishnash Union transformation took place from Ishnash Union to the Jamaat, London Jamaat?
We were always trying to. In Ishnash Union. We were trying to raise funds for the Jamaat, for a Jamaat, but we never succeeded. So 72, Mullah came here, and we said the same thing to him. I said, Mullah came here because he came here to look after the people who had come from Uganda, and he wanted to see how they were doing. So, and this is the reason for Mullah coming here. And so we relayed to him that we are having problems. So Mullah said to us, we were part of the committee, the National Union Committee. Mullah said to us, look, Mullah said, would you come with me tomorrow, and we'll see if we can raise funds. And the first person we went to was Roshan Padani, Asghar Padani, and then Jamal Walji,
they were established here.
And Jamal Ramji. Yeah, they had all come from Uganda. Mm-hmm. So, and there were 5 or 6 houses we went to with Mullah, and at the end of that visit, Mullah raised £30,000. So Mullah said, look, I've raised half your money, and now you can raise the other half yourself, because I've got other things to do.
So at that time, Ishnash Union was there, or Jamaat had already formed?
Ishnash Union was there.
Okay. Mm.
But we had a meeting to form a Jamaat, just at that time. And it was agreed that we would form a Jamaat, but the Jamaat wasn't formed as yet. Mm-hmm. So, and after we got the funding, it was all agreed that we should form the Jamaat, and the rest of it is...
And the rest is a history.
The rest is...
At the same time when you bought Hammersmith?
Hammersmith was bought afterwards, but the half of the money was raised by Mullah. Okay. But the rest of the money was, And I think that the principal person in raising money for Hammersmith were Habib Walji, Ratansi, I can't remember the first name, from Dar es Salaam, Habib Ratansi, I think. And so they were quite helpful in raising the funds.
Habib Walji and Ratansi, did you say? Okay.
People like Nazir Jessa.
Nazir Jessa?
Yeah, he was in part of the National Union. Fidali Dharamsi, these are the people, and Fidaus and these are the active members at the time.
Okay.
Thank you. Anybody else? You are the oldest man here. I can't give you anything. Your point of view is very important to us.
I will say something. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Yeah.
Now, the point I give, then you up to Mr. Panjwani, then to add on that. I was born in Mombasa, 10/10/1930. In 1949, I started working with Smith Mackenzie up to 1979. From 1979 to 88, I was migrated to Nairobi. From 97 up to now, I'm in London. Now this is the beginning. In 52, I got married. I got 3 sons, Mahmoud P.K. Merali, Muhammad Raza, known as Jimmy Merali, and Munir Merali. And I got 2 step, Murtaza Muhammad Taki Gulamsan and Sukaina Muhammad Taki Gulamsan. From 1947, I was playing cricket and I represented you from 55 to Coast and then to Ishnashi Sports Club, then became the Jeffrey Sports Club. Then once I played for the Kenya also. During all in Mombasa, I didn't work with Jamaat or not the club in committees. In 2003, in Nairobi, I became the trustee of Jamaat, where the new construction was going on, Livingston Mosque and all these things. Here in London, I came and I became the trustee in 2003. And then after 1 term, I became the committee member. In 2003, I was appointed as a senior citizen chairman, and I didn't want to leave till now. Then I thought it's too much. So in 1916, I gave my post to Azad Bhai Qasim, and then continued by Sultan Bhai Karmali, and he is the one. The best job is done during the pandemic, when there was if possible, to run citizenship, and still is running. I congratulate him. That's all thing. In between, if you want to ask any questions, I'm ready.
When you came to this country, did you do a job? Did you work or did you retire then?
I was sponsored by my son, Mahmoud, and I born retired, so I'm still retired.
નહીં વાંધો નહીં તમારું ઓન કરજો જરાક વાંધો નહીં ઇટ્સ ઓકે પ્યારેભાઈ મને ખાલી એક સવાલ પૂછ્યો છે તમને કે તમે ઈસ્ટ આફ્રિકામાં જે તમારી જિંદગી કાઢી અને અહીંયા તમે કાઢી ફરક બસ એટલું જ ઓકે હા ઓકે ઇન્શાલ્લાહ ઓકે કોઈ યુગાન્ડાથી અહીંયા આવ્યું છે કે જે યુગાન્ડાનો એક્સપિરિયન્સ આપી શકે ને અહીંયાનો કોઈ છે નહીં ઓકે
Assalamu alaikum. Very briefly, talk about National Union. I came to this country in 1969, where the National Union was very well established and based in the East Africa House. The only way of communication, as Muslim Bhai was saying, was getting information, and we depended upon people registering with us and sending out circulars. And the union was more involved in the social as well as religious side of it. The social side of it, the biggest thing were many of these national students were looking forward to was Eid functions. We used to have Eid function at YMCA, Indian YMCA, and other halls. And all over England, people would come and meet there. But the only thing which wasn't very appreciated was ladies and gents were together. And at that time, people appreciated who were there, but those who were from outside look at the different views. That's the only thing. And in 1972, when Mullah came here, and he saw this and he asked the social union to stop these things. But as you said, that's the only thing which kept the union going, because of the people meeting each other at the Eid time. Mm-hmm. One brief experience I'll tell you, which was a very pertinent, is 1972, when the Ugandan Asians came and they were put in some refugee camps in the south, somewhere in Oldham,
somewhere in the south.
South, yeah. Military base or someplace. Okay. Camp was in. At that time, social secretary, the union president was Masum Barwani, and I was a committee member, and we decided we didn't have enough money as a student, could hardly afford food for a day. And we took a train and went up there, and first thing we met a few Ugandans just to tell them that we are here and we'll do something.
This is Ugandan Khojashi
Nashi. And the first question we were asked, Jamaat Sukre Chapramati. We laughed. We can't even have our affairs to come here, and this guy's asking.
There was no Jamaat?
There was no Jamaat. Okay. And this is this mentality we had. The Jamaat is the social care, the social assistance. We always look at the Jamaat. There's no social security like in this country. In this country, the government takes care of you. In East Africa, it's the Jamaat takes care of it, medically or educationally or otherwise, and financially. So this was the main thing. And the first meeting we decided to call, it was at Islamic Center in Becker Street, Jamaat to be formed. Nazir Jessa was there, and others who were there.
Would you know the names of the people who were there in the meeting?
Oh yeah, quite a bit.
Who were there?
My brother Ghulam Bas, he was visiting at the time here, 1972, I remember. And then he didn't decide to reside in this country. Instead, he went to America and settled in Los Angeles. And the first person to open a mosque. It's our condition with Nashris, whenever we meet, we try to form a Jamaat, first thing. One funny moment is, I moved to Abu Dhabi in 1988, and there was only one other snatchery in there. It was Bashir Walji. And the first thing he says, Bashir, you and I, we should form a Jamaat, He says, what? So yeah, you become president, I'll be the secretary. We used to joke, but it's something to be taken into consideration. When we used to drive to Dubai, and we used to approach Mustafa Danji and said, yeah, we have Jamaat of Abu Dhabi, he's the president, and I am the secretary. We should sit near the mimbar and have a mundi. So this is the
mindset.
Mindset we had. Thank you.
Thank you.
Want somebody from Uganda?
Okay. આવો અહીંયા તમે સાંભળી શકીએ. આઝાદભાઈ બોલો.
અમારી સ્ટોરી જરા જુદી છે તમારા બધા કરતાં, કારણ કે જ્યારે અમે યુગાન્ડા મૂક્યું તો અમે રેફ્યુજી તરીકે નીકળ્યા, અને અમે ઓસ્ટ્રિયા પહેલાં જવાના હતા, પહેલાં અમે જવાના હતા ઇટલી, ને પછી એની બદલે અમને ઓસ્ટ્રિયા લઈ ગયા, અને ઓસ્ટ્રિયામાં પછી અમે રેફ્યુજી કેમ્પમાં રહ્યા અને પછી બીજી બધી કન્ટ્રીઝ આવતી હતી બધાને લેવા થોડાને અને અમને સ્વીડિશ ગવર્મેન્ટ લઈ ગઈ ત્યાંથી. સ્વીડિશ ગવર્મેન્ટ લઈ તો ગઈ, પછી અમે સ્વીડિશ ગવર્મેન્ટ અમને એની પહેલાં જ્યારે અમે રેફ્યુજી તરીકે નીકળ્યા તો અમે પહેલાં ગ્રીસને એરપોર્ટ ઉપર પહોંચ્યા અને ત્યાંથી પછી અમને અહીંયા ક્યાં ઓસ્ટ્રિયા અને ઓસ્ટ્રિયાથી પછી અમને સ્વીડન લઈ ગઈ. સ્વીડન 73 જાન્યુઆરીમાં. અને પછી અમને અહીંયા રેફ્યુજી કેમ્પમાં રાખ્યા, કેમ્પ્સ રાખી હતી રેફ્યુજી માટે. અને ત્યાં વેધર બી બહુ ખરાબ હતી, ઠંડી ચાલુ થઈ ગઈ હતી, સ્નો બી પડવાનું ચાલુ થઈ ગયો હતો. તો અમને કપડાં આપ્યા કે લાંબા કોટ ને બધી અને બૂટ ને પ્રોપર ચાલી શકીએ અમે બરફમાં ને બધે બાજુ. હવે અમને 2-3 પ્રોબ્લેમ આવી ગયા હતા. પહેલો પ્રોબ્લેમ તો વેધર, બીજી પ્રોબ્લેમ ખાવાનો, કારણ કે ખાવાનું તો આપણું ડિફરન્ટ હોય ને બધું ત્યાંનું અહીંયાનું સ્વીડનનું. થર્ડલી અમને લેંગ્વેજ સ્વીડિશ શીખવી પડતી હતી. તો અમને અહીંયા કેમ્પમાં રાખ્યા અને અમને લેંગ્વેજ શીખવાડી અને અમને ખાવાનું આપતા હતા પણ ઓલાકાનું ખાવાનું બધું એ સ્વીડિશ ખાવાનું, પેગેટી પાસ્તા. પણ અનલકીલી ને અનફોર્ચ્યુનેટલી જે મને આપણા ભાઈએ કીધું ને કે જે અમે પણ હરામ ગોશ ખાઈ લીધું સ્ટાર્ટિંગમાં. અને પછી અમે જ્યારે ચાલુ કર્યું કેમ્પમાં રહેવાનું તો અમે 4-5 ફેમિલી હતી આપણી ખોજાની. એમાં અમારી ગોવાની ફેમિલી હતી, એક રાજપરા હતા અને એક પારવાની ફેમિલી. પછી અમે કેમ્પમાં રહ્યા એટલે 6 મહિના અમને લેંગ્વેજ શીખવાડી, અમને ભણવા લઈ ગયા સ્વીડિશ. અમે સ્વીડિશ શીખ્યા, પછી અમને બધું એડજસ્ટમેન્ટ કપડાં ને બધું આપતા હતા. પછી અમે બધા માટે કામ માટે લઈ જતા હતા. તો અલગ સ્ટાર્ટિંગમાં કે અમે તમારી ફેમિલીને સેપરેટ કરી નાખીએ. અમે જે એક ભાઈને ત્યાં લઈ જાય, એક ત્યાં લઈ જાય, અમે ના પાડી. અમે કીધું અમને એક જ કામમાં જવું છે. તો અમને સાપ કંપનીમાં લઈ ગયા. અને સાપ
કઈ બાજુ?
ટ્રોલેટનમાં.
ઓકે. બોલો.
હા, એ તો પોઈન્ટ ભૂલી ગયો કે અમે જ્યારે અમે આ કેમ્પમાં હતા તો અમે અમારા ભેગું મોલાના હતા, મોહમ્મદ ઝાહિદ, યુગાન્ડાથી આવ્યા હતા. અમારા ભેગું પણ ઇન્ડિયાના હતા. પણ એ કે હું ખાવું જ નહીં ચિકન ગોશ ને કાંઈ નહીં. તો અમે કીધું હવે શું કરશું? પછી અમે કીધું ના કાંઈ મહેનત કરવી પડશે. તો અમારો એક ટીચર હતો ને, તો અમે એને કીધું આ રીતના પ્રોબ્લેમ છે અમને. ચાલો તમને ફાર્મમાં લઈ જાઓ અને આપણે ફાર્મરને કહે કે તમને ચિકન આપે, તમે હલાલ કરો. તો એ અમને લઈ ગયો. તો લકીલી ફાર્મર કબૂલ કરી લીધું. તો અમે ચિકન લઈ આવ્યા. તો એ કે જીવતા ચિકન આપો, હું તમને કાપવા ન દો. તો અમે કીધું કે મરી ગયા, હવે શું કરશું? તો અમે પછી એક ચિકન હલાલ સંતાડીને લઈ આવ્યા પેલા રૂમમાં, ઘરમાં. અને પછી અમે હલાલ કર્યું બાથરૂમમાં. ત્યાં બહાર શાવર હોય ને તેમાં બાથરૂમમાં પાણી ચાલુ રાખ્યું, હલાલ કર્યું, પછી ક્લીન કર્યું. અને એના પછી અમને ખાધું તો મોલાને બહુ દિલથી ખાધું. એ કે હવે હું ખાઈશ. પછી ત્યારથી અમે હરામ ખાવાનું, ગોશ ખાવાનું બંધ કરી દીધું. અને ત્યાર પછી ફાર્મ પર જાય અમે કુકડા કાપી ને થોડા લઈ આવતા હતા. ઓકે. પછી અમને કામ માટે લઈ ગયા ત્યાં જુદી જગ્યા પર. તો અમે 5 જણા હતા જે અમારા ઘરમાં જે અમે કામ કરવાવાળા હતા. સુલતાન, હું, મારો ભાઈ યુસુફ, ગુલામ અને ઓનલીભાઈ. તો 5 જણાને સાપ કંપનીમાં લઈ ગયા અને અમને ત્યાં કામ આપ્યું. પછી ઘર આપ્યો અલગ, કંઈક અમને ગોતી આપ્યા, કારણ કે બધું અલગ હેલ્પ કરતા હતા ને. અમને તો બહુ ફાઇન સર્વિસ મળતી હતી, VIP સર્વિસ મળતી હતી ત્યાં. તો અમને બધાને ફ્લેટ ને બધું આપ્યું. કામ શરૂ કરી દીધા, ફર્નિચર ને બધું રાખી દીધું. પછી કે હવે તમે કામ કરો. તમે કામ શરૂ કર્યું તો આસ્તે આસ્તે સાપમાં, કારણ કે હાર્ડ વર્ક હતું, સાપની કંપની હતી, સ્ટીલ વર્ક હતું ને વેલ્ડિંગ ને બધું કરવાનું હતું અમને. તો અમને વેલ્ડિંગ શીખાડ્યું ને અમે કામ કરતા હતા. શિફ્ટ વર્ક 5 થી 2 ને 2 થી રાતના 10:30 વાગ્યા સુધી 2 શિફ્ટ હતી. કામ કર્યું. પછી આસ્તે આસ્તે અમે 5-6 જણા હતા. તો અમે તો લાવો ને એક જમાત બનાવીએ કે આપણે શું કહેવાય કે આપણે ભેગા થઈ નમાઝ પડીએ, મજલિસ પડીએ, બધું કરીએ. તો અમે એક ફ્લેટ ભાડે રાખ્યું. તો અમને મળી ગયું, લકીલી ફ્લેટ બી મળી. પછી એક આવ્યા આપણા મુનવ્વર હિરાની કરીને, એ જે કાફી એક્સપિરિયન્સ હતા કે જે બધી વસ્તુમાં જો એને કોન્ટેક્ટ એને બહુ જલ્દી બનાવી લીધી હતી. તો અમને ફ્લેટ મળી ગયો જ્યાં રહેવાનું, એ શું આપણી મજલિસ માટે. તો અમારું કામ ચાલતું હતું. મૌલાના બી આવી ગયા 2-3 કે 5 મહિના વર્ષ પછી મૌલાના બી આવી ગયા ઇન્ડિયાથી. મૌલાના મકબૂલ અહમદ એ આવી ગયા ક્યાંથી? ઇન્ડિયાથી. અમને હબીબભાઈ વાલજીએ અમને હેલ્પ કરી હતી બોલાવવામાં એને. તો એ મૌલાના આવ્યા તો અમે પછી નમાઝને બધું પઢાવતા હતા, મજલિસને બધું રાખતા હતા. સ્ટોરી બહુ લાંબી છે પણ જેમ બને શોર્ટ કરી નાખો હવે. પછી અમે નમાઝને બધું પઢતા હતા. તો બીજો ફ્લેટ રાખ્યો બાજુ લેડીઝ માટે. 2 ફ્લેટ થયા. પછી અમે ડિસ્કસ કર્યું કે આપણે મસ્જિદ બનાવીએ, એક હોલ લે મોટો. તો અમે આ કાઉન્સિલ સાથે વાતો કરી હતી, કોઈ જાતનો મેર નહોતો ખાતો. પછી લકીલી ત્યારે છે ને બહુ હેલ્પ કરતા તમને એ કાઉન્સિલવાળાને બધા કે તમે અમે એક જગ્યા આપીએ ત્યાં અમારી મસ્જિદ બનાવો. તો અમે તો જગ્યા મળી, એવી ફાઇન જગ્યા મળી કે મસ્જિદ બનાવી. પછી મુલા સાહેબ મુલા મહરૂમ આવ્યા અને બધું ઓપનિંગ સેરેમની થઈ ગઈ. એ થોડાક પછી કેટલા વર્ષમાં યાદ નથી, પછી એને આગ લાગી હતી. પછી
કોઈ બાયડી હતી કે
ના કોઈ બાયડી હતી, કોઈ છોકરાએ બાયડી હતી. તો અમને ઇન્સ્યોરન્સવાળા અમારા 3 million crowns ત્યારે તરત જ આપી દીધા કે તમે લઈ જાઓ, તમારું કામ ચાલુ રાખો. પછી અમે નવી મસ્જિદ બનાવી. તો એ તો મોટી બની, અમને ડબલ ફાયદો થઈ ગયો. તો એટલે બહુ પછી મસ્જિદ બની, પછી મોલાના અમને નમાઝ પઢાવે ને માણસો બધવા માંડ્યા, બેરેજથી ને બીજા કોન્ટેક્ટથી આવવા માંડ્યા. અલ્હમ્દુલિલ્લાહ. બીજા ઈરાકી, ઈરાનીશી આવવા માંડ્યા. એટલી બધી રોનક થતી હતી. એટલે કે દુઆઈ કુમેલ ને બધું પડતા હતા ત્યાં. એની પછી
નામ શું રાખ્યું જમાત?
પછી
નામ શું રાખ્યું?
ખોજા શિયા ઇસ્નાસરી.
ખોજા શિયા ઇસ્નાસરી. ઓકે.
પહેલામાં વિચાર હતો કે ખાલી રાખીને આમ મુસ્લિમ શિયા ઇસ્નાસરી, પણ અમને ના પાડી કે ના, ખોજા જ રાખો. તો અમે ખોજા શિયા ઇસ્નાસરી. Just the last one, last thing. Okay, that's the last. I'm sorry. So, because it's long, I can write a book or what, anyhow. So,
લખશું આપણે.
આપણે લખશું ઇન્શાલ્લાહ. તો એ અમે અહીંયા શું કહેવાય મસ્જિદને મળી, પછી મસ્જિદ બની અને બીજી બનાવી તો બહુ મોટી બની ને 2000માં અમે સ્વીડન મૂકીને યુકે આવી ગયા, કારણ કે અમે EUમાં હતા. થેન્ક યુ.
Assalamu alaikum. તમે વાંધો ના હોય તો ઇંગ્લિશમાં વાત કરું. I'm more comfortable in English. So unfortunately I did not get acquainted with the questions you raised. So I thought you wanted to really address those questions, but I only caught something. So can I just address one or two of the questions? The reason for emigrating to this country, you know, and if I rattle on or if I'm irrelevant, please feel free to stop me. You know, if I'm going off the point, I'll be quite happy for you to do that. So specifically, the reason why I emigrated, and I'll involve my whole family, because we all wanted to emigrate. So on behalf of my marhum father, his reason, my mother's and my sisters, etc. So basically, I was the first one with my sister to emigrate in 1971. In fact, I arrived on Boxing Day in Gatwick Airport, 1971. And the reason is because the situation, as everyone probably knows, the situation in Kenya was worse politically and economically than Uganda in 1969-70. So, you know, my father thought that really we got to look ways of moving economically, politically. He had a business and also he had a British passport. So as far as I did my A-levels there, and to go to university would have incurred the same amount of fees as it would have if I went to a county in England. So basically, he sent me to Leeds, Yorkshire. So I started my accountancy in 1972. And my sister also came with me. And then following that, my other sisters, once we felt we could live here, the others also started joining us. So that was the main reason. My father had a business, but as soon as all my other sisters came over, I'm the only son, so that's why I'm referring to my sisters. Then my father decided, look, let's pack the business up in Mombasa, Kenya, where he was there for many, many years. And he joined us in 75.
કઈ બાજુ?
At that time, we had moved by then to Wembley. From Leeds, we had gone to East London because we knew family. So we went wherever the family. There was a family which we knew very closely. So we went to East London. I started working in East London. The moment we found that there were more Muslims than Shias, not Shias, sorry, Khojas in Harrow, Wembley, we moved to Wembley first.
So that attracted you?
the issue of Khoja Shias from East Africa, specifically, we knew that they are more in around Wembley area. So that's where we first were rented, and then we moved to Kingsbury, and then we moved to Harrow. A lot of people then started moving in North Harrow, if I'm not mistaken. I think there are a lot of people who have lived in North Harrow for a long time. That was one of the clusters for Khojas. So that basically, that was the reason why we moved. There are many other things I want to say, but in the interest of other people wanting to contribute.
How did the community shape you and your family?
Oh, the community, so ever since I arrived, and when I got married at the age of 24 and 5, my wife is also from the same hometown of Mombasa, and she just came to England, and we had Dr. Nizam Merali, who was a good friend of mine, and together we decided to form a school, madrasa, way back, I don't know how long ago, 1977, 78. So we were very much involved in community madrasa, which we held in Rice.
And the community is still shaping well your children?
Yes, very much.
Okay.
So my children, you're testing my memory. I don't know when I had my children now.
That doesn't matter. It's important that they are being raised well.
Yeah, 81 and 82.
Yeah.
So I think the madrasa was there
Right.
in 81, 82. So they were probably too young to be in the madrasa then. But then I had to move, unfortunately, because of my personal job situation, I had to move outside London to join a practice in Hampshire, right? So I went there. So my children were brought up there. But my wife also started opening a madrasa in Southampton. So she was the first person to open a madrasa. There was, I think, another madrasa of Iranians, but for Khojas was not there. And also she started with our local Jamaat, which was a Portsmouth Jamaat at that time, in Portsmouth, South
Which
Sea.
is now known as Wessex Jamaat.
Now it's known as Wessex, but that time it was in Portsmouth. So she started the madrasa also there. So we have always been in touch and trying to serve the community. And then I came back to London after about 10 years in Wessex. I came back to London, so I got involved in the madrasa in North Harrow, Nova Hill School, right? But I missed the period when Mullah Askar was here. So I was there, but I was still very much, and of course we had Mullah Bashir Rahim, etc. So we were still identified ourselves as Khoja Jamaat, not a Shia Jamaat, as a Khoja. Of course, we introduced, lots of people came who are not Khojas, Iranians particularly, and some Iraqis who came to a community.
You had a very nice cohesive community then with others as well?
It was a small Jamaat, but a very cohesive, family type of Jamaat. I had 2 terms as president, a term as secretary, and it was a small Jamaat. But the dynamics and the challenges were very similar to other larger Jamaats. The Gloucester Jamaat was another small one, Essex Jamaat was a small one, but I saw that as, and of course I was a counselor to the World Federation. So there was this give and take, etc. Mullah had come there and looked at opportunities. Yeah, so I'm grateful that I moved to Wembley. I'm grateful I belong to a community where I identified myself as a Khoja, and I have stuck to that. And now that I'm semi-retired, I feel very, very grateful, immensely grateful that I come here on Tuesdays and Wednesdays whenever I can to participate and to socialize with my fellow brothers.
MashaAllah, okay.
I'll take one more, and Abbas has been waiting here to say something.
Who is Abbas?
The last one.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam, Abbas.
This is my experience from Zanzibar. I was born in Zanzibar. Before revolution, life was very wonderful in Zanzibar. It was a piece of heaven, everything, we invested there so much. After revolution, all our properties, farms, and everything was taken over. Most of us were penniless. and we started a little bit of business here and there. And then we, education, we were going to government school, but we were thrown out once a revolution started, and we went to private school, and we have got somebody, Azadala, with us together. We went to Hindu Union, because it was topmost at that time, the school, then our International Union, International School. Coming to Dar es Salaam, we struggled hard, but I studied, finished my Cambridge, came to Dar es Salaam, started work, and then studied a little bit SCCA, the foundation. And once I saw my parents are in Zanzibar, I tried to move them to Dar es Salaam. Once they are settled, and then my friends were telling me, why you are sitting here in Tanzania, there's no more further education for you if you want to go for profession. That encouraged me to move to London, and we went to YMCA. We were very few, and we encouraged other children from East Africa, from Uganda, especially Kenya, to be together so that we can preserve our religion and everything and study. And that's it. Yeah. Only 2 minutes. Oh. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
You finish
Yeah.
a couple of minutes and then
Yeah.
funeral today.
Yeah, yeah.
They're gonna bring the-
Mana 1 minute.
Yes, sure.
Yeah, only 1 minute. That Hammersmith we bought was very good, brought the community together, and that is so many marriages have been, and our community and children are still with us because of this step coming then to Stanmore. Furthermore, I'll leave it later
I can
on.
always, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Allah. Thank you very much, Sultan Bhai, and all of you. Abadije, the stories that, the personal experiences that have come out, it has given me a window. And then what I do normally is that from that window, I can access a lot of information to individuals who have already related the story. These are the witness statements now, and that's very important. One last bit. When we write a book like this, we cannot include everything. So in a way, what I'm suggesting to our federations is to write a proper history of each Jamaat. Because the focus here is on identity, I just went through all the Jamaats to pick out important points to underpin the whole issue of identity. So you will find that I've just expressed Lindi Jamaat, 2-3 pages, Bukoba Jamaat, 2-3 pages. I've given them justice like that, but concentrated mainly on the identity issue. It will be the same thing for the next book as well. But you have to bear with me that we have to connect all the dots in a sort of a grander scheme of the things. But going into details, inshallah, that would work. That would be another work. But anyway, thank you very much. This is very important for me. And thank you very much, Sultan Bhai.
Sibtain Bhai, I think we would like to call you again here to give you some more information, because a lot of people have got something to say. If you don't mind.
Not at all.
Yeah? So in next year, inshallah, we'll pick one day.
Pick one day early so that, because I'll be writing the book,
Yes.
So
yeah. If you don't mind, yeah?
No, not at all.
Because
it will
I
be
think
good.
it's been very educational to us today to hear so many points of view, and people have got points of view. So inshallah, next year we will arrange something similar.
And very well expressed, if I may say so. Very well expressed.
Thank you.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad.
Yeah, I think we'll move the chairs so we can do I picked up some of the photographs here in you in it. The very old ones.
Okay, no problem.
So I thought you might like them, you know.
Yeah, I'll be younger then.
Thank you very much.